Thank you everyone for joining us for the designers panel on day 2 of the summer edition of TTOX, one of the biggest board game conventions in India, and it will only get bigger from here. And with all of you amazing designers joining us, I would love for you guys to individually introduce yourselves and what game company are you representing, or as an individual, what do you bring on board. Can we start with you, sir?
I'm Arjit. I'm working on my first game. I have not yet cracked the code as earlier was. So I'm representing Liquid Bird company name. I'm saying company because earlier we were making educational products. So now we are working to make an educational game.
Okay.
So I'm from Mumbai. And that's it.
What's your background, Arijit? If quickly
I'm
you
a
can.
mechanical engineer. And I worked at Maruti Suzuki for 2.5 years. Then I worked for 5 years in my own startup. And that same startup is now making a pivot in this.
Fantastic. Thank you, Arijit, for introducing yourself.
I'm Benjamin. I am from Cochin. I run the brand Salted Mangoes.
Okay.
We've been playtesting our second game among 12, the social election game here at TTOX. We got fantastic response. The game, I would say, has grown much more than how we brought the game yesterday here. So thank you for this offer.
Oh, wow.
Here. And we're getting more confident with the game, with how to balance mechanics. So it's going good. I have a master's in product design from MIT Pune, and I've been always working in the design space. And game design keeps me
Going. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Benjamin, for joining us.
Hi, I'm Anushri. So by profession, I'm a designer, and I took one game design module in college.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I got interested in game design, and here I'm testing my first game. I haven't registered as a company yet, and I'm getting a lot of revelations, lot of feedback, and I think I'm still working on my game, and yeah, I think I'll talk about it.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Anushri.
I'm Mihir. I'm from Mumbai, and I've just started taking my baby steps in board game design. I just have one game out. My second game would probably come out this afterward. And
That's humble of you to say. What's your background, Mihir?
my background currently is this TTOX.
Yeah, correct.
No, honestly, I'm from a different background. I have a degree in golf, so I teach golf. And
People do that for a living. Teach golf. Yes.
yeah, so and board game design, I started playing board games as a hobby, and design was something I stumbled upon accidentally, and just started taking my steps in design now. So exciting times ahead.
Fantastic. We'll come back to. Yes, that I will come and reveal in a bit. So we'll come to each of your games and what phenomenal work you guys are doing as Indian game designers representing India on a world stage. So we'll come to that. Okay.
Thanks, Shraddha. I'm Kiran. I represent Tacit Games. So we have two games in market, Humpy and Bimba. Both of them sold out. So like just generally. Yeah, and it's been 2 years, 3 years. We started, this journey started a long time ago. I ran an elective in IIT Bombay, IDC, called board game design. It was early 2001.
Okay.
Really old. And I think after that, those electives spread. This was with Professor Adhankar. He's
Right.
I took that not with him, but with Adhankar sir.
Right.
So me and Adhankar started. So that's when we started with nodology and things like that, and we created the content for it. So it's percolated during COVID. Everybody's sitting at home. We just designed a couple of games and put it on our website.
Right.
It ran well, and
Pretty well.
Right now we are making more and more games. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Kiran, for introducing yourself.
Hi, thank you. My name is Midhi and I represent Board Drama. We've recently launched our board game Sugar Rush. Quite excited about it. You got a good response here. We want to know how people are liking this game, how's the reaction. So yeah, looking forward to more and more people playing. My background is I used to work for corporate for 8 years and I quit corporate and I'm full time into board gaming now.
Taking games to the corporate now.
Hopefully soon.
Yes.
Right. So that's what we are here for. And
Fantastic.
yeah.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Right. So, hi everyone. My name is Mohit. In terms of background, I work at KPMG. I have a total of 8 years of experience. I'm in the risk and compliance background. In terms of the game design journey, so I've been designing games on the side a little bit. This is my like third or fourth game, which I've come to TTOX to kind of showcase and get some playtesting done. So for this particular game, I'm part of a design trio. They couldn't be here, so I just brought the game off. And yeah, game design is a lot of fun, and bringing out ideas and abstract concepts into something we can interact with and play is what kind of drives me and keeps me enjoying the aspect of game design.
Thank you so much, everyone, for giving your very humble, brief introductions. One of the things that I would really appreciate is like all of you having put your games out there for the world to decide what they like, what they don't like, and games for all, games for some, games for young, games for old. I want to know from Benjamin, let's have you answer this. How does the regional market play a role in your game journey as a designer?
The Indian market.
The Indian market and the regions that we all come from, because we are representing different parts of the country as well. How has the regional scene elevated your confidence in terms of bringing your games and putting it out there?
So honestly speaking, the first game that we did, we launched it. We uploaded through our markets, through our website only. We didn't sell it. We just put it much to look at the response from the entire Indian space. It was more word of mouth. We would go to communities which would eventually play that game, and we were doing events with them for them to know about the game and take it forward there. So for me, it was from a regional perspective. It is the communities in the regional thing. The first game was called Bible. So it had a specific community that kind of looked up to it. So we were focusing only spreading our awareness typically to that communities. Not that that game could be played by anyone, but it was our test game. I would say we did it to understand the market, how do we met Prajwal and Manu Graphics and everyone. So it was a time where we were understanding the manufacturers. We met a lot of designers, became part of the group to help us. I'm sorry, I'm digressing from your question, but to the regional question that you asked, it was more of us understanding the communities and where we could fit in. We want to change that in the game that we're doing now.
What game are you working on currently?
We are working on a game called MAY'25. The story is still inspired from the Bible. The Bible has a lot of stories to say, and we want to inspire stories from the Bible in, I think, all the games that we do. But we are not going to be focused on a community that big.
All right.
Right? We are going to get inspired from stories and
Values, morals is what we are talking about through games. What?
Stories in general, stories and themes in general.
Okay.
Values and morals comes in any game.
Part of the
And we
package.
believe games as a tool for incidental learning. So you learn those morals as you play and bond with each other. Social interaction is a great genre to bring out the bonding factor.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mihir, would you like to pitch in for the kind of regions that your games has had audiences from and what it appeals to, whom it appeals to, being from Bombay and also living in the US for many, many years? You have seen different markets, and what is the traction with the kind of games that you have been making?
I don't take this, honestly speaking, I don't take the stress of knowing what regions my game will work in. All I focus on is making a good game. If you make a good game, which is fun and enjoyable, everyone would enjoy it, no matter what region they are from. It's just plain simple as that. Sometimes, many times, we complicate things ourselves.
Too bad.
We just need to boil it down to the simplicity and the basics of it, just by making a good design, which is fun. I'll tell you one thing that I focus on in my design is that I focus on experience. So after after they play my game, I would want them to leave with a very happy or a memorable feeling, an experience,
Right.
a different experience where which hopefully they will be talking about even a day later or 2 days later. If my game can do that, I think that I've made a good game. So this is what I kind of focus on.
Right. Thank you. That was a very well answered thing. I think that's rightly said. It doesn't matter which audience or which part of the world we are catering to, but a good game just stays and it has a more lasting impact. Doesn't matter where. And it also is one of the, like music, I feel games have a very universal language. It speaks to everyone. So, how we help people find that love for games. So, Anushri, I'm very interested to know what games are you working on at the moment?
Yeah, so the game which I brought here is known as Red Zone Escape. It's a co-op game set in a post-apocalyptic zombie environment. And there are a few more games I'm working. One is Haunted Mansion, so that is also turning into a co-op game. So somehow, like I think I'm gravitating more towards co-op game at this moment. And yeah, so these are the two games I'm working on, and like I learned a lot. And by play, you might think, okay, you created something, but when people play it and even you play, then only the game is tested. So you can't build it in your head. You have to play
Translate
it,
it.
and then it keeps transforming to something. So
Right.
that is what I have learned, and I'm still on the journey. I feel like I felt it was done, but I think after the playtesting, I feel I have to go back to the drawing board and
It's an unending process, but yeah, we'll put a full stop somewhere and
Yeah.
put it out in the market,
Yes.
and there's no end to that loop.
Correct.
So, coming to Nidhi and Kiran, both of you, you guys have manufactured, gotten your games published, manufactured. What were the kind of roadblocks that you saw, or what you faced? If you can share something about Humpy as a game, or the games that Tacit Games has published so far.
Sure. So it was during COVID time, and that's when we produced Humpy, right? So the first was the access to the printing itself. So we had earlier done some puzzles, and we got it, printed in China.
Okay.
And we were looking at manufacturers in India, and it had lots of limitations. So there are no, if you look at board game manufacturing, zones, basically, you have a couple of factories in Germany, like a few more in China, and like now, US has a couple on the Californian coast, right? We had to basically go there to scout out and bring this. So here the whole idea was to create this expectation with our local printers, like, with Rajat here, with going over there, sitting with the printers who can actually deliver that kind of quality, right? And we were not sure about the quality check. There's no process at all.
Right.
And I remember taking a photograph with all the people helping us to build Humpy in our printers thing, and like everybody were in different pods, and I was like completely was chaos. Like we don't know whether the quality will come out or not, right? So I think that was the biggest challenge. How do you get basically the first cut from 0 to 1 is a big challenge, because once you crack the manufacturing, like you have like certain quality coming. Today I was very happy. I saw a lot of 3D printers coming out. I was like, I got inspired. I'm going to make a lot more 3D stuff now, because I have like 4 guys who will deliver it for me at a very great cost.
Absolutely.
And I can push this to consumers and get that money paid from the consumers, right?
Right.
So this was not there at all. And that time there was a lot of problem with that, and nobody had the faith that this is going to be sold with that level of quality, right? So once we got our first box, the Dabba, right, the first Humpy box, we were so happy, and we actually tested it with the Catan. We tested it with the European standard. There were errors because the manufacturing methodology in China is very different. It's like process driven for 10,000 units. You won't get anything less than 10,000 as an order. Here I can't risk for like say 500, like 1,000, and just like keep on those dabbas in my house for like next 2 years, right? So that quality check, once we actually did an A/B test between what we can produce in India compared to what can be China, we like this is like 5%, like 10%, or like probably 2 to 3% errors compared to that, which is like great, right? So I pushed a couple of boxes to US, and I got a feedback from them.
Wow.
They couldn't make out I had my one of my friend who went and gave it to all the board game
Give
places.
viewers a
And they went, they opened it, ripped it apart, and it's like, okay, where did they manufacture it from? Like they couldn't make out a trace that came from China or from India, right? So that's when we got confidence. Then we said, okay, we could sit comfortably in our place and said, okay, India is a good place. I can get it done. There are some, printers who are getting more and more evolved in the space.
Right.
They understand our requirements, and it can be done. So that means that's a setting up of infrastructure to how to actually get the product out into the market. Right?
So it's also like a two-way window for the manufacturers also to learn alongside, and for us as designers also having a faith that yes, we can push the
basis
limits a
because,
bit.
See, they get hundreds of orders from a lot of other people, not
Yes.
from board game.
Yes,
And I
correct.
completely respect their time. I remember going to the printing place. Sindhu is here. She's a pro in printing, and standing in the printing and checking the CMYK test whether the blue is really the blue or not, right?
Right.
And this was I don't think the printers were ready for this. We come from a very crispy design background, pixel like.
Tell us
right?
about it, yeah.
And then why are you guys here? Like it's a blue. No, I wanted the blue exactly the same CMYK blue. So the Hampi looks good because of that. We took our thing and the cuts, the hexagonal cuts there was no hexagonal cuts, introduced. There was no accidents done. So the kind of a jig was created for that. So I had to go and check every angle whether it's right or so. That happens in every first game. But now I'm like a lot more confident, and I think the ecosystem is a lot more evolved to make better games.
True that.
And priced at the right, thing. I mean, why should I price lesser than any European game?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a rich story. I have a same level of mechanics.
It's an experience being sold. Game is a product, but it's an experience being sold, right?
So I don't want to go anywhere lower, like trying to make something cheap or anything like that, just because to cut some costs. Because I want it to
Right.
be better than any
Right.
game which is there in
I
European
bet.
market.
Yes. That's fantastic. That's a great take.
I'd like to add with the same thing. Our initial idea was to make it in India. So it's always we wanted to go forward with that idea, and then we met few printers, and like he said, that just checking with the colors multiple times. We have to get quite if this color is using well or not, and in terms of just so multiple times we had to go there at the store, get it checked. If it was not right, coordinate with the illustrator, designers,
Right.
printers, get all of that ready. So it was quite, and we were first timers trying to just figure things out.
From paper to prototype to a product which you are already launching. I think that's a great success story already.
And
Yeah.
it was a learning process.
Yes.
We were learning why doing this.
Right.
So that
That's great. Mohit and Arijit, like Mohit, you have been working on games based on history.
Yeah.
And you were part of the Zenobia Awards, Game Awards for the second edition. How was your experience and what kind of games you're working on? And then Arijit, I would want you also to pitch in what kind of games you're working on. So yeah, we'll start with Mohit.
Zenobia, in hindsight, was one of the best experiences I have had, because it was a long form competition. There were like 4 rounds. The first was just the initial rough proposal, then a refining proposal, then the first prototype, and then we did move on to the next round as well. So it's a historical games competition, and my theme was a game called Sabotage the Raj. The theme basically was British. Basically, you are fighting against the British. So people are members of a group called the Anushilan Samiti, which originated in Bengal in around 1901 and gathered steam around 1905. So basically, players are a part of this society and they are fighting against the British cooperatively.
Right.
And the game involved a lot of mechanisms, but then that was the final refinement part. But Zenobia really provided that kind of a focus, because before that I knew I wanted to make a game on the efforts against the British and the whole revolution bit, but that really helped me figure out what the theme should be about. And yes, so that's how basically Zenobia kind of helped me.
Help. What about you, Arijit? What kind of games have you been making, and what inspires your game design process?
Only one game we are making, not games.
Okay. I'm sure there are 100 in your notebook. Yeah.
A game which we are currently working on is a rocket building game. It's a thematic. We are trying to make it as thematic as possible, because our previous educational products were on the rocket and astronomy themes.
Okay.
So we are making educational flashcards type of stuff earlier. So the current game is made to match almost like if there are 10 elements in the industry related to rockets, we're trying to put as many like 8 elements out of that in the game. So players act as the head of a company who manufactures and launches rockets. They collect contracts from government for sending satellites and payloads. They build a rocket, test the parts, and then launch it. And in this space, everything like collecting employees, hiring employees, poaching employees from others, testing their parts and launching them. All those things are trying to make it sense with as what is happening in the industry. So gamifying the actual industry things.
It's a simulation kind of game. Yeah.
So you're trying to match as much as that possible, trying to push the limit so as that anyone can feel that there is an actual thematic element.
Fantastic.
That's all.
Now, this is an open question for all of you. Like, how much role does research play before you actually hit your idea on paper and other things? And what's the process? This is for a young audience because a lot of young people from various design schools, non-design backgrounds who are wanting to get into the hobby now. Everyone has a great idea out there. But what's the proportion of research versus actually practically translating your idea to testing it, especially? What's the process if someone, if any one of you would want to take a shot at this question for our audience? Published designer, Mihir.
Well, the amount of research really depends on the theme that you have for the game.
Yeah.
If your theme is about any mythology or something like that, you will have to do 50x the research to not
Skew the facts or
skew the facts. Otherwise, you would be some community will object or stuff like that, and they'll object and stuff like that.
that's a thing nice to float on, yeah.
And in any theme, for any theme, if you do some research, even if it's not a mythology theme, if you do some research, like a deeper research into the theme, it'll help you build some better mechanisms because a deep research gives you deep knowledge about the theme that will lead to better mechanisms. But do not take any historical based theme or mythology, any history based things lightly. I am talking from personal experience. Like my first game had some historical characters and which were conquistadors and not and they weren't well received in Mexico and people revolted against it and there were some online backlash that we faced. Even though we had some kind of we had a consultant with us, and even with that we faced some backlash. Even though we had some notes that even though the actions of these guys were not good, but these guys were instrumental in building the theme in this region. That's why we have this in the game. But no, it was not enough. We needed to then immediately cut them off, reprint with some new characters, and put the game out, which delayed the game. So yeah, I can just share from my personal experiences that anything you do with historical themes, mythology, historical themes, be super ultra careful. And even if it's not an historical theme, as I just repeat myself that if you do some research into any theme, like if it's a garden theme, just do some research and it'll help you build some better mechanisms and make the game more fun for you. So
Right.
research is important.
Can't miss out on that, yeah.
Just kind of add on to what May said. For us, a dialogue is super important, for which we create a new space for mechanisms to work. So the research is like a kind of a conversation sort of model. So I keep talking with a lot of experts. So I'd gone to NID to really check what kind of dresses they were wearing in Hampi during that time. And I had to go get the real fact of what kind of dresses. Then I had to bring my illustrator, sit over there for almost 2-3 hours to just debate and even dress up to tell how the dress would be, which was then later illustrated and then put into a Hampi, right? Now that becomes a joy because that becomes a dialogue between the illustrator, the researcher who had actually gone there and sitting with them and asking how does the life work there, right? And things like that. So out of this comes a very new and what I'm looking at as a game designer is actually a kind of a space for new mechanisms to work. Otherwise, it becomes like, if there's no dialogue, you get the normal mechanisms, right? You get these, that's what comes out of an idea. Wait, this is very different. So you kind of build a lot of space initially for 2-3 months to have at least 10 to 12 conversations. And that becomes research, right? You basically go ask these people. So I'm working on a game called Jivana with the National Center of Biological Sciences, NCPS. So the scientist Shashi Thutupalli is like from Max Planck, and the amount of conversations I've had with him, it's like I don't know how many hours. So he comes to my house in the night, and we keep sit and we talk about that experiment for hours together. And because of that, a new set of mechanism, whether it's a traitor, mechanic you want to build, or a co-op you want to build, so that comes out of those conversations, and then that requires sort of research. So there's a lot of difference between converting an idea into a game versus creating a complete game, which includes our embedded shit embeds like research or like production and so forth. This like takes a longer time for some games to sort of evolve, and we have that. If there is no hurry to put this back into the market and earn back your buck or whatever it is, then I think there's enough the game will take. So I think many of the good games they have taken 2-3 years.
Absolutely.
At least I'm sure wingspan is 3 years and things like that. So it's not.
I will cat off. I'm a product design background. Research for me is about problem solving. Every stage of the design of the game design comes with its own unique set of problems. Be it the first thing, right? Why are you designing the game? Who is it for? What is the experience you want to solve? Right? It's a problem, and how do you solve that? Comes to the research. So throughout the research is not a phase that happened once and you close it. Research happens across the game design. Even after, how do you market it? What is the problem you're trying to solve, right? It comes at every stage, and the more you do it, as in the more you understand the problem you're trying to solve, and then you do the research for it, it becomes effective. I completely agree with what Mihir was saying. Our first game was Bible. It was based on the 66 books of the Bible. We had to read the Bible to ensure that it doesn't work, right? Every book we had to directly understand what the contents are. We had an illustrator who had to, every card in the book game was the exact replica of that book in the Bible. So we have to ensure that is correct. We had to then take this design and show it to all the people of faith and show them, is it correct? Are we putting out a wrong message? That my wife basically, we spend weeks just getting that right, and then I think almost a year to get the art done. But what I'm trying to say is that yes, if you choose a very heavy and research heavy topic, yes, you have to do research. But research is not something that is just for the theme and the right. Research happens throughout the game for every single element, right? Right from the time you were deciding what do you want to build, why do you want to build it, and who's the audience going to be. From there, one of the biggest problems is rule books, right? Your game could be good, but if your rule book is bad, nobody's going to play it. So how do you research on what a good rule book should feel like, right? Should there be a rule book in the game? There are a lot of storytelling games where the rules come out as you play, right? Why can't board games have that? So you ask yourself questions, you have problems that you try to solve it, and research comes in every step, and it's there throughout the process.
I think that's a really good way that you've put it across, that it's not just a pre-production thing. Research continues throughout the process of building games, from hitting the market, before manufacturing, and it's a thorough process, and each of these research components have a different role to play in your journey, and you take ownership of this entire process on the whole, and there are a lot of collaborators. If I want to ask anyone about the collaborative process in this whole game design journey as a designer, what are these collaborations like? What do they look like?
Can you ask the question on the previous?
Yes, please. For the research, yes.
I wanted to ask this question because if I consider non-thematic games, like pure abstract games, like say Pothello, Avalon, then how do you guys see this question of research that way?
Just make the game, no research.
So
Obviously, the research will focus on what makes an abstract game fun. Like what makes other abstract games fun, but nothing towards the theme, because if a theme, then the research is based on what would make your game mechanism fun.
For abstract game also, you'll have to do modeling, right? So whether if the patterns are working in a certain way or not, I would go to my modeler. Like basically he helps me with all the mathematical combinations to just see all the edge conditions. As we said.
So in that, research goes more in the mechanisms and probability and the mathematical elements on that.
Yes, and if you have lots of colors, then make it colorblind friendly. Like there are 6 different types of colorblind people in the world. So choose a color palette which works for everyone. And there are many tools available at your disposal to use to help you with that. So, and yeah.
Abstracting consumes more depth for me. With the narrative based games a lot more, it has a lot of richness and story. Abstract is like pure mathematical money. I have to do all kinds of stuff.
While somebody would be helping do the mathematical calculations, I'm always interested in the making process of games. So what materials, what is going to be the tactile feel, how do I add the Indian craft element to it if I have that at my disposal, how do I integrate these other different worlds which can also become part of the larger ecosystem of the game worlds now, and what is a novel product also. So even if you're not making mass manufacturing something, how are you making boutique games also in that space? Anyways, I'll also ask any of you who would want to pitch in about this journey of collaborative processes in this entire thing. You can't do it all. It's like a giant film production. So what is this? What does the game production look like?
So I think for me, like the play testers are my biggest collaborator, honestly, because I personally feel you cannot design a game alone. Like how do you even test it out if it's fun if there's no one else to play with you? So I really feel that your biggest collaborators are going to be the people to play with. So it's very important to build a community from the very beginning or be part of a community. So don't think okay I'll take 6 months and build a game and then suddenly I'll launch it. From the very beginning, it's wise to let people in and take feedback every step of the way and build it together. So honestly, I feel like whatever game I am able to launch, the whole journey, like it's very different, and the play testers bring in a lot of value. So for me, I think they are my biggest collaborator, is what I feel.
Thank you for honoring all the play testers out there, because it's a very crucial stage and it's a continuous loop.
Yes.
It's not a linear process, game design. Like you think you've made the best game out there and you take it and somebody crushes ke like this is not working only. You're like, what? This was the best part about my game. Then you go back to your table and then you don't work for some time.
Yeah.
Or how has the processes been for each of you
I think
as makers?
shine a particular light on your blind spots. Since as a part of making the design, you probably don't consider how it will interact and react to different play styles and stuff like that.
Right.
So that way, play testers really help out, and plus seeing someone else interact with the game, that gives you a lot of thoughts and ideas. Even just seeing how they are feeling while playing, that helps a lot as well.
That builds the confidence as well. Like yes, it's actually coming to life and they're actually reacting to the ideas and everything that we put in while we were.
That brings a lot of joy to just see, spectating somebody else play your game. So I don't know how many of you are able to do blind play testing, but generally we do watch people and like, wow. And those silent observations being noted down in your notebooks. What are the other kind of collaborators in the game space, in the game landscape? People drop some elements.
I mean, collaborations can be, everyone can be a collaborator. Your artist, your graphic designer, illustrator, everybody. And the biggest one, as they mentioned, is other playtesters. Rulebook editors and proofreaders are right there with the playtesters. One who will once you get the MPC, like the mass production copy, before you hit the mass production button, you need to check everything thoroughly. So that, because then you cannot make any mistake, and thousands of copies will be printed with that mistake. So
Correct.
That process and the people helping you with that quality check are right there along with the playtester.
So the industry is big and accommodates a lot of people with English honors doing copy editing, or people with visual communication degrees, becoming graphic designers, illustrators. So I think a lot of times also breaking these roles down, that it takes an army of people to create games that people see, and that is what they're paying for. They're not paying just for the game. Of course, they're paying for the experience, but also I think at a convention like TTOX or any other bigger conventions around the world, when you go and see all these incredible games, people have taken 6 years to create games. As a younger game designer who was a part of a game class for 2 weeks or 2 months, and we were expected to create games in those 2 weeks and 2 months. So how does it feel now? I have all the time in the world to create games, and but how have you slowed down in that process? That I don't want to make 30 games, but if I make 3 good games, it's a good job done. So
that's
students who are expected to make games in 2 weeks versus when you have 2 years to work on a good collaborative project.
So yeah, I think those 2 weeks we are super ambitious and we are not aware what happens after college and how long it takes to bring any product. Like I've been a service designer, I've been a product designer. So
Right.
when you go out of college, you actually spend a lot of time to build one product and you build the second version, third version. So that is how it is in
In
the
real
real
life.
world.
Yes.
And same goes for board game as well. And when I started initially, I didn't know that about. I thought maybe it will be much faster. But as I'm going the process, I see the value the time spent will bring in the board game that I built. So just like I had some like almost 10 years of experience working in industry, so I learned that okay, in real world things take time and it's okay when it takes time it becomes better. So and I realize it's the same for the games as well. And
True. So, are there any exciting projects each of you are working on currently? I think some of you have already answered those questions. Anyone else who would like to pitch in what you guys are working on?
So I'm working on a game called Jivanu. It's a experiment in NCPS which is running right now. They have a beautiful lab, and the chief investigator happened to see my games, and we kind of collaborated. I went to his lab and saw what they were doing. I was shocked. They were putting some soils and creating new life.
Okay.
Okay, this is happening right in Bangalore, which is very
Huh.
crazy. And I was like shocked to see what these guys are doing. These are really, really high quality PhD students.
Wow.
I got like amazed with this. Like these guys are doing some fantastic work. And I said, like he said, can you make a game out of this whole thing? So like absolutely. So this started almost a year back, and we've been in commencing. It has historical, political stuff happening. It has lots of episodes. So it's like a huge game, probably like a few hours game. But that's something which you're working in the final stages. So
All
we'll
right.
be like probably finishing in a month or so,
Super.
and probably hopefully publish this out as quickly as possible.
We wish you the best for that one. What else are you guys working on? Mihir.
My next game that will hopefully come out next year is based on the Mumbai local trains.
Super.
For Mumbai local.
Okay.
Yeah, and 2 other projects which are yet on the core design stage, but yeah, so
Okay.
3 active designs.
Currently being worked on. So yeah, is it fun shuttling between projects and giving energy to
For
different?
me, it is a must because I sometimes game designs reach a plateau. You need to step back and like give it a break because
Yes.
you just cannot like progress ahead and you
Mental
just-
blocks.
if you keep at it at that point of time when you reach a plateau, you just get frustrated, and in that frustration, you might you might just get the game out which is not unfinished, or get some mechanisms in and keep wasting your time, playtesting the wrong stuff. I rather just give that game a break. Like my recent game, which is coming out this year, is Grass. You played it.
Yes.
That also had reached like a plateau twice or thrice. I just left it, and I just did not work on it for a month or so every time. And then when I came back at it, it worked like magic.
Fantastic. I think that's a good
I think
input.
Yeah, well, like what you were asking that in after college, sometimes when you hit the plateau, you have the option to take a break, and it's a good thing. And I wish the students can really learn that it's worth spending time on one product
Yeah.
longer, and it's okay to take break and come back to it.
There's a game on cricket that you guys are working on. Would you like to mention something about that, maybe?
So we are working on a game called Human League, which is based on its auction and betting based game.
Okay.
We have different franchise. You bid on players and then you auction. It's an auction based game as well. So while you guys play cricket, enjoy the IPL, why not have a board game based out of it? So that is the idea.
IPL as a theme itself, like the golden egg that we are sitting on here in India. Cricket is big, and yeah, gamifying it. I think a lot of people have also tried cricket-based themed games, but IPL being the new format of cricket in India, I think it will gain a lot of traction. Wish you all the best for that. With the time that we've had, I can go on for longer time, but I think let's open the stage to other audience who are attending, and if they have any questions for any of our designers, any question, no questions, big or small, please, I would ask any of you. Harshal, yes.
What are some of the key metrics that you look at after playing as to judge how well he does? Well, you judge it.
Well, I recently saw a video from the creators of Exploding Kittens, where they said they had big formats of things that they asked as key metrics. But the only thing that really matters is, will you play my game again? I think I've been testing that today a lot, and was happy to hear some of those responses.
Replayability value of the game is what is the key. So, what makes it churn? Awesome. Anyone else has any questions?
I have a question, right?
Yes.
So, see, one part is designing the game, and then I think comes part of creating videos around it, digital marketing, and, right? So that's other part because the game has to reach to the audience, right? Now there are two thought process, right? One is you try and get there. Other is you hire an expert and let him or her do a job. What are the views? Because of course some of these things are very pricey also. Sometimes you wonder that, okay, let me try it myself. Let me record a video and put it up there and so on. So want to hear the views from some of you who have been doing it for much longer. What works and what probably doesn't work? Like, is there something that you should not try?
I can add on to this one. So I think social media management or social media is something that everybody are today hooked on to their phones. I think these days audience like something more authentic. They like to know the face of the game or the designer or the story. Like what is your story behind why are you doing this? Like, so that might add on to, okay, so this is the person that I know. This is the person, the struggles that the person has gone through to make this game. So that connectivity or the relatability, your community, all of that might help. I mean, put out there, put out your game, put out your story.
So, authenticity in terms of presenting yourself out there in the public.
So like I haven't read the story really for a few months. The question is, do you try to create it yourself? So you've written the story, but the question now is that do you try to create the content of that story yourself, or would you rather pick someone and have them do the job because they are better at it and you're innovation side? So that's where I just want some.
Can I do that? Few parts to it, like.
Sure. Go ahead, Kiran, and then I'll just.
So mainly you have to do what you call as the authentic content around your game. It involves all of it. Like how do you play the game? How do you make it easy for people to understand? All of that. It's one whole content creation, right? That's the separate thing, right? You have on your web page, you have you put all of it. One more is the reach. There are like two parts to it, right? How do you reach? So there are like lots of tools, right? So we use a lot of search engine, right? Optimization. So we reach through all of it. Once somebody gets onto your page, like that's when they stay, and then you get onto the content whether it's interesting or not, right? So there are like 2-3 parts to it. One is you make as much as authentic content as possible so that people believe what you're doing makes sense. It's easy for them to understand. They can relate to your content and so forth. That's one thing. Reach is now you're different here. For that, I many times use experts, right? There are like many ways to do that, and sometimes it's the fastest way to do that. Many times you spend hours in community, nothing works. Sometimes you do something like go put your in exhibition and things like that. We don't go anywhere. We just sit on one place. We know how to optimize that, and the sales up. So that's those tools are available right now, and that's not something do that. Whether you want to put it on Amazon and then do an Amazon ads on it, or whether you want to bring your set. So there are like tools which are there, you use experts, and that's it. Selling 1,000 copies should not be that thing with all the tools.
So make content yourself and get experts to market that content for you. I think spend your money at the right place than like getting some filmmaker and making an ad or something. So yeah, filmmakers are important. I have a filmmaking background, but yeah, you wanted to add something? Is it?
See, 5 years ago, I gave my first educational product and I launched it on Kickstarter. And at that time, I was designing cards on Photoshop. If anyone in graphic knows, Photoshop is not used for designing cards. I designed the cards on Photoshop and I sent to a publisher, a manufacturer. The person replied that gets hired some graphic designer, don't do it yourself. Then I searched on Google how to design cards. And then I learned the Illustrator basics. I just did some mock-ups and I put it out there in the public. The point which I am trying to say is that if it is your first product or if you are just starting out, don't worry about all those aspects of what to do after the product. Get the product out. Get a good product out that I'll say it is to be given a top priority. Like he said, get a very good game. So get a good story if you're writing a story. If the product is very good, then word of mouth also works once you put it out. So regarding my first product, I made a video using simple Canva type graphics. No Adobe Premiere Pro or any high-fi software. The images all, even right now, which is on the campaign, all images are made in Photoshop. That time I had no idea that Illustrator or InDesign is being used. That campaign crossed 500% on Kickstarter.
Wow.
So my ask was $3,000. I got $15,000. So after funding received, I started working now. Okay, now I have to design the cards. So all the 55 cards I have to design and get it done. At the end of the day, if the product is working, then the rest of the things comes in place little by little, and that can be tolerated by the consumer also.
I think Mihir has a point to add as well. Mihir.
I think if I understand the question right, these guys have given the most golden tip possible, especially him, that first get the product out. Nothing bigger than that. And for the what to do after that is, I would agree with what they said, that tell your story, but have someone, a professional person, shoot that. You don't shoot it yourself, if I understand your correct. So you don't do the stuff yourself. You tell your story, but have someone professional shoot that. I'll give you examples how that matters. There's a very popular game called Shashan.
Yes.
They now in my world, from where I come from, the game itself is very mediocre. Okay, but it has sold like hotcakes, because of its fantastic marketing. And now the guy behind it runs he used to make films and movies. He's from the digital background. So the videos they put out for their ads were shot in that professional manner. Now what happens? Why is that important? What happens is that when you shoot a video by a professional, the video looks crisp, clear, the lighting is good. A person seeing that video on internet will stay on that video longer. If you stay on that video longer, the algorithm catches it and it recommends that video more and more to other people. So that's how the chain works. So that is why you need a professional to do the stuff that you were mentioning. But to shoot yourself, setting your story, but have the professional do it. They know the lights, they know the editing, they know the camera angles. So it's a different ballgame, but it'll work for you. There'll be an investment, will work for you wonders.
Sure.
Yeah.
I have a question for Meher itself. What is that difference between like doing a self-publishing and doing your own game, or doing with a very good brand and publishing your game?
Okay, good question. And I'm sure this question many people will have, that should I self-publish my own game or should I go with a different publisher? So I'll give you the pros and cons, okay? Now there is no right or wrong. I'll give you the pros and cons of everything, and then it's up to you to decide based on your preferences or your situation what would be better for you. Now if you're self-publishing yourself, okay, if you're first time self-publishing, you will have to go through, eat the grind. You will have to make mistakes and be happy to be making mistakes and learn from your mistakes and wasting money in mistakes and learn from the process. And you will have a long-term goal of serving customers, making good games and sticking to it. If you're going to make one game and forget it, don't do self-publishing. If you're going to make a publishing company for 10 years, 20 years, constantly churning out games and serving the customers, then self-publishing is for you. You will have to learn everything like how the materials work, how the box sizes and box shapes in fact impact stuff. I'll give you a very core example. Not to make this longer, I'll just give you a core example. Your box size, okay, matters for how many of those you can get on a pallet when you ship it to other countries. Now the pallet sizes are different in different countries. Europe is different, in US is different. So that will throw a curveball for your cost analysis and cost estimation and stuff like that. So the certifications, like in US, you'll need for about 10 a different certification. In Europe, you'll be about 12 different certifications. So all those things, are you ready for it for your first game, or you aren't ready for it? What kind of finances you have, how much you have saved, and how much you have as just to brain down to make mistakes. So, and I'm sure I've just alluded to one thing, but there are almost 50 such things when you're going the self-publishing route. Now, when you're going the route of designing a game and giving it to a publisher, you'll have to scout for a publisher who's ready to take your game, who's ready to publish it in a good time frame, and not like after 4 or 5 years, who's equally excited about your game as much as you are. Some publishers just take the game, if they come to know you're a newbie, they sign a contract with you which works in their favor. They'll keep the game with them for 5 years. Hey, it did not work, sorry, take back your game. So the contract will be heavily worded in that favor. So make sure you don't go that go down that drain. And also be ready to lose your baby, because I believe your game is your baby. If you design a game, like at least I think that, when I design a game, it's my baby. Like I've lived it, I've dreamt about it, I've breathed it. Like, so be ready to lose control of your baby. It's like you're giving your baby away to someone else, and then they will have creative control of the art, the marketing direction. They might change some mechanisms which you may or you may not like. So find a publisher who is ready to work with you in game design, and who's ready to involve you in every step of the way, if possible. And that is again possible if you have a good game, if they find your game is good. And the bigger the publisher, you need to be a bigger name for them to not take you lightly, or just be happy that that things are not going to work. Or I'll be honest, my first game was with Stonemaier Games, which is the biggest company in board game industry. There's nothing bigger than Stonemaier Games, and I did not have that much creative control besides the design. What happens like otherwise, So, but then my next game, I'm working with a company which is involving me in every step of the way, and which is more my kind of a work relationship that I enjoy. So yeah, it depends, So there are pros and cons for everything. You just have to weigh them and analyze everything minutely and see what works and what does not work for you.
One more question for Kickstarter. Like, is a Kickstarter. So, is it a good way to launch your game in a Kickstarter, or do it and try it out, then go for a Kickstarter kind of thing? Like, do one production run, test the market, and then go for a Kickstarter?
See, yeah, from the experience of all the previous products which I have made, which are not actually games, but in the same kind of fields, like education, cards, and also. So I was doing Kickstarter because I didn't have any other option. So if you are in a stage like me, you don't have any money, you don't have any option, you are just willing to spend time, lots of time, lots of energy. So then you can go on that route. And the thing which my mentor says to me, that you have to either spend time or you have to spend money. Don't end up doing both. So I used that fact that I didn't have any money. My spend on for my first Kickstarter was exactly $1. I know not a single penny spent anywhere. Only after I got the funds, I sent it to my manufacturer and then I shipped it. So, but I spend lots of hours DMing on people on Instagram and stuff. So if you take time amount of stuff, so if you take a time calculation of that, money and time calculation, then it will become huge money. So that's
pros and cons of that.
So I think with those golden tips from all of these designers out here, sharing it with our audience here, right here in the room, that's all the time we have. We'll be mentioning their websites in the description when they upload this video online. And if you guys want to connect with them personally outside of the room, please feel most welcome to do so and make that connect. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. Thank you everyone, each one of you, to be here sharing your journeys with us at TTOX. Thank you. Thank you. Big round of applause. Thank you. Thank you guys. Of course.